Welcome into another episode of the Ball Boys podcast. I'm your host, Caleb Zuver. And welcome in. And I'm here with Alexa again today, ladies and gentlemen. And, if you keep tabs on NFL news, we're just going to dive straight into it right off the bat. If you keep your tabs on NFL news, on the NFL news and what it goes on a daily basis, you saw today that the Pittsburgh Steelers restructured Ben Roethlisberger's contract. Now, Alexa, I'm going to give you the floor on this one. This is all you. This is everybody's wanting to know your thoughts on this. Just dying to know what a Steelers fan thinks about this. So go ahead, just talk a little bit about Big Ben today with a huge move for this upcoming season in the Pittsburgh Steelers team.
It was unexpected. There were reports before that they were nowhere close, but it happened. And you know what? I'm happy. One last ride. I think if we build O-line around him, add a running game, we are in the Super Bowl competition because I can argue that Steelers and Colts have best defense in that league, AFC.
In the AFC for sure.
And nobody will change my mind about that. If they build O-line, which we saw the Super Bowl, how it end up. We got to have good O-line. And Pittsburgh is known for run game, and it's something we don't do the last 3 years. So we got to get my boy out of Alabama. And we'll be good. And I'm happy he did what he had to do, and he thought about the team's future, team success, and saved $50 million cap, which can help guys like Juju bring back, or Bud Dupree, or Mike Hilton. Cam Sutton. That was a great move for Steelers today.
So let me ask you this, and I really want to talk about this a lot, and I'm interested to know what you have to say about this, because here's the deal. So you talk about need offensive line, we need a run game, stuff like that. So now that you have Big Ben restructuring this deal, Pittsburgh was already under the cap. This is going to get them closer to the cap. Now what do? Are you drafting these offensive linemen? Or are you going out and trying to sign somewhere and free up even more cap space somewhere? Like what's the next step for this team? Because if you're right in what you're saying, that this is the last ride for this team and that this is it. They're got to put all their chips on the table. What's their next move? And what do they got to do if they want to be in the top of the AFC?
We don't need to rush. We don't have to go all out, is what I mean, because that team is still going to be talented. Wide receiver corp or group, however you say it, when Big Ben's done. The defense is still going to be there. They don't have to rush. We just got to make sure we plug in our dots. So with Big Ben coming back, that tells us, hey, we don't have to worry about everything now. We don't have to worry about quarterback, offensive line, running back. Now, for the question for offensive line and running back, I think his name is Nick Martin from Texans, who got released for center.
Oh, yeah. And he was really, really good. And he was like a staple to that franchise for years. And it's really surprising they moved on from him. But, yeah.
I will go after him. And then this class is deep offensive tackle. Walker Little, second round maybe. Other guys in later for Kevin Dotson last year was 4th-round pick. But I think we do have to get running back. And I think it has to be 1st-round pick.
You think so? That's what I was going to ask you, because a lot of people don't like when teams use a 1st-round draft pick on a running back. And you look back a couple years ago, there were people who hated that the Cowboys drafted Ezekiel Elliott at 4. They said they would never do that, no matter how talented Ezekiel Elliott is. But then you have a pretty good running back class coming in with guys like Etienne, Harris. And guys
Williams.
like that. So, and Trey Sermon from Ohio State. I mean, he had a great finish. I mean, it's a very deep class. So you're saying right now, and we're putting it on the airwaves, that you want the Steelers in the 1st round to go running back. Is that correct?
Either Najee or Etienne, because I'm scared of Jets, who have an extra 1st-round pick with 23rd, and they're getting either Najee or Etienne. So if they take one, I think they will go Najee. I will like any of them.
And then after that, it's
O-line.
And then even
later
in the
rounds.
off season, it's re-signing those
Important
guys.
people.
And it's just so hard because the cap is probably going to be down this year because lots of money lost for the league because of the pandemic, no fans, stuff like that. But we'll see. The one team that has to do a lot of ins and outs with the cap is the New Orleans Saints.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw that, but they are like 70 million under the cap next year. So I don't know how whoever's making those decisions deserves a raise, because I don't know how you get out of 70 million under the cap or whatever it is. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And a couple of small signings or transactions that happened over the last week. Golden Tate got released by the Giants, and I'm going to give a shout out to Graydon Nowak here, because he's one of my friends from back home. He's big Golden Tate guy. He played for the Lions for years, and Graydon's obviously a Lions fan. Loves Golden Tate, and I was talking to him about this, Alexa, and we were talking, and I was like, I haven't really heard much from Golden Tate lately. Like, is he really even that good? And Graydon was like, he just had, watching New York last year, he just wasn't used correctly.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know how to use him with Daniel Jones. It can be hard. He can be a deep threat. He can be a guy that can go up and get the football on a deep ball. And I think he's very versatile. I think he can run short routes too. I think he's a very versatile receiver. So I think it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. And then also Tyrell Williams signed with the Lions. And, it doesn't sound like much, but it was kind of surprising to see the Lions do something like that this during the offseason with a lot of other priorities like Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones. So that could mean Marvin Jones now probably going to be a free agent. So let's get into that a little bit, because I think this free agent class has got a lot of wide receivers. You got guys like Allen Robinson, Marvin Jones, now Kenny Galladay, T.Y. Hilton, Juju. I mean, it's a deep receiving free agent kind of class. And so I'll ask you, Alexa, let's go to Juju, because that involves your Steelers. Now I'll talk a little bit about T.Y. So for Juju, what are you willing to give? What are you willing to offer him? And are you really worried that he might go somewhere else?
I was worried, but seeing Big Ben being back, he was happy. He says, now we talk. He wants to stay there. I will give him 2-3 year deal contract, 4 maybe. Now, how much is he worth? I'd be hearing around 15 to 17. If he really wants Pittsburgh and he's saying the truth, I like you, I'm going to be there, he would have to take $10 million a year.
Yeah. Because you guys are already kind of with the cap space. Yeah.
I think he's willing to do that, especially since Big Ben is coming. But teams like Dolphins and crazy to think, but Jets could offer him $480, and he'll be like, well, $480 or $440.
Yeah, exactly.
Do I fight Super Bowl, or I take my money and then after 4 years try another Super Bowl?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's a crazy thing. Like, the Jets seem to be in like all these free agent talks right now. They're with everybody. I mean, and trade talks too. Like, it's just kind of crazy right now. And as far as the Colts go with Ty, it's interesting because last year and the year before with Jacoby Brissett, that's starting quarterback, and Phillip Rivers as starting quarterback, they aren't guys who really push the ball down the field and take deep shots, right? Andrew Luck was that quarterback. He threw deep. And you saw T.Y. kind of struggle with that. He did not get the looks deep that he once got with Andrew Luck, because those guys just didn't throw it. That wasn't their game. And so I think now with a guy like Carson Wentz, who likes to take risks, I mean, there's no doubt about it. He likes to throw the ball down the field, and probably way too much, which is something I think Frank Reich is going to have to coach out of him, is being a calculated risk taker, right? But I think the biggest thing for T.Y., I think he needs to realize that he's got, these last few years haven't been great, but he's got a chance to kind of rejuvenate himself here and get another 2 to 3 really good years out of him. I don't know what that number is that you offer him. I think whatever it is, it's got to be a short deal, I think, because you got to see what he's got. But I think he would fit perfectly with Carson Wentz and in the offense. But either way, he's going to make his decision, and either way, he's still a Colts legend in my eyes. But one of my favorite players that has played for the Colts for sure. But that's just something to keep an eye on. I just think this offense might suit him really well. I think he'd be missing out if he didn't come back. Let's go to the NBA now, Alexa, and your Mavericks. We've been doing a lot of podcasts about the NBA, and we've talked about the Mavericks a lot, and it feels like they've come a long way in the past month or so. Talk about what you've seen, because now they're above 500 heading into the All-Star break.
Yep.
And what have you what's been the difference? What has changed since those first couple podcasts we did when we came back, where they were really struggling?
Energy was brought back. Guys like Maxi Kleba, Josh Richardson, Dodo, all got hit with COVID, out 2 weeks, and those are our NKP also was out. Those are our best 4 defensive players. And when you go in a night without 4 good defensive players, it's really hard to win, and that's why they were like 9-14. And ever since Maxi, Kleba, and other came back before KP eventually, they improved a lot on defensive end. And Luka just stepped in way better, took a leadership role, doesn't argue with ref lately. It's not more about now he wants to win, and that's something he turned around, so I give him credit for that. And they're just playing good basketball now. They're in this rhythm, and 8 seed if Warriors lose tonight or something like that. But they're like 3 games behind 3rd seed, so anything happen.
Yeah, it's been a nice kind of turnaround for the Mavericks, and it's been everything the Cavs haven't been. Because I feel like when we first got back here, right, the Cavs were like on this upswing. They beat the Nets twice, and they were on the way up and all this, and then they lost like 7 in a row. Now, it's not like they lost 7 in a row or whatever to scrub teams. I mean, they were playing. I mean, the West Coast road trip was insane. I mean, we played like the Bucks twice, and then we went out west, played Phoenix, Denver, the Clippers. Like, it was so crazy, and you can't really be mad at that. But they won 3 in a row before last night's loss versus the Pacers, and I gotta say, dude, Jarrett Allen has just been so awesome, and it really makes you feel good as a fan that he's gonna be a Cavalier for a while. He's been fantastic. And by the way, for listeners who don't know, Colin Sexton's next 40-point game that he gets, I'm buying the Cleveland City edition jerseys of him. Well, he had 39 the other night.
Oof.
So I was thinking, I could give it to him, but no, he's got to get 40. He's got to cross that 40. So we'll see when that happens. So keep an eye out for that. But overall, you can't be mad. We're still interested to see what we're going to do with Andre Drummond. I don't know what the best option is. And we'll see. Go ahead. You're going to say something.
Why is he hated around teams?
I don't know.
18 rebounds a night. Not 18, but a lot.
Here's the thing, and you bring up a good point, but here's the thing. So he was when he brought in, he kind of did take on a leadership role, and he was really well liked, and I think he still is. But the one night when they sat him against the Warriors, because there were like trade talks going on or something, to me it was just so out of touch by the Cavaliers organization. I hated it. I mean, he wants to be out there no matter what, and I get it's a business, but that didn't make any sense to me. And so he has every right to be upset about something like that. But I think you bring up a good point. It definitely is interesting. And so as we move to the All-Star break, Alexa, we can talk about MVP and stuff. Just some teams or players that stick out to you in the first half. And you don't have to give your top 3 MVP guys. I'm not asking you to do that, but just some players that have surprised you and guys you're excited to see, what they do in the second half of the season.
This might be kind of like common sense, but I'm surprised about Jokic. I think he is way 3 times better than last year, and he's really pushing Denver to their best. But I mean, it's really hard to put Jokic in MVP competition because of his defense. He scores 50, he will give up 50, something like that. He's a great guy, but it's just he's not great defensively, and his chances of that will go down. I am really surprised Giannis is also rebuilding his name up there. But Embiid, to me, is the most surprising because I know Embiid's a great center and stuff, but the production he has so far, and we actually talked about before season was do they trade him?
Yep.
Houston.
That was a big thing, and people forget that. You bring up a great point. People forget Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid were on a trade block. It was who do you pick? And yeah, you bring up a great point, but go on.
And those are just the three guys that stick up right now as to me as a forerunners for MVP. LeBron is there. Also, I had AD fighting for it, but if he comes back healthy and see the numbers, Luka has fallen down. But I mean, if Mavs do something crazy, it can be back up there. Just a lot of guys, and that's what I like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It feels like it's very competitive. And it feels like Embiid and LeBron are at the top of that MVP race, but you got guys like Dame. I mean, what he's doing. Even last night he was struggling, and then once Dame time hits with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, he fixes it, and he just goes off. Which I am officially a Dame Lillard guy now. Like, I love that dude. He is so awesome. And, you know, I saw a headline this morning after his, game-winning shot last night. It was like, does Dame Lillard need to leave Portland to win a championship? And I think, it's easy to say that. It's easy to say just go find new teammates in the day and age we live in, which I fully support. But the thing with Dame is like, I think him being on a team like this is part of just who he is. Like, that's why people respect him so much, because he hasn't left. He hasn't gone to another team. He's stayed in Portland for his whole career, and I think that's what became a part of him. So I don't even know if it's really about him moving anymore. I just think he's gonna try to win one in Portland, and he's gonna be great while he does it. And I think it's just part of his brand now. When people think of him, it's like, he wants to win one in Portland. He doesn't want to go anywhere else, and he's actually like staying true to his word. But I'm interested to see them too, because they've had Nurkic out for an extended period of time. They've had McCollum out for once C.J. McCollum gets back, that team can be really, really good. And
Covington's there.
Covington, and you got other pieces like Gary Trent. I mean, they got nice pieces. I think they're going to be a player in the second half. And then also the Phoenix Suns, I thought they would, they'd make the playoffs, but they have just carried that momentum from the bubble last year into this year. And Devin Booker, he originally didn't make the All-Star team, but he got in for Anthony Davis because he's hurt. But they are really fun to watch. And now they're third seed in the West. Or maybe they're second. I'm not sure if they're above the Clippers or not.
Something
but
like third, fourth, second.
It's they're for the Phoenix Suns. For most of my basketball fandom, have been bottom feeders in the standings. For them to be in this position, what can you say about Chris Paul too? It just wherever he goes, they win. In the West is just so intriguing to me right now, Alexa. It really, really is. You got a lot of teams that are going to be competitive, and I think it's going to be fun. Still think the Lakers are making it out, but you never know. Let's talk about this. It's not rant session yet, but this is something we both kind of noticed over the past week or so. Let's talk about NBA refereeing, because it is under a lot of scrutiny right now. Just go ahead. What you've seen, we got Devin Booker getting tossed the other night and Donovan Mitchell getting tossed last night. What are your thoughts?
It's madness out there. I'm trying to be nice, because as a humans, everybody makes mistakes.
Mm-hmm. It's
but
important to remember that.
Simply, same guys making mistake over mistake. Let's start with my boy,
Scott
Frost.
The most notorious referee in the NBA.
I didn't have beef with him before Mavs Clippers playoff series, but after that he's just been so ridiculous.
Because he did what?
Ejected KP.
Yeah, there it is.
So that's my beef with him. But also other guys, I love Tony Brothers, but refs are out there with just if you say something, it's like their feelings get hurt.
I know.
JJ Redick passes the ball to ref, they think he's throwing it on purpose.
Well, that's what happened to Devin Booker too the other night. He already had a tech, and he passed the ball back to ref, said something, got tossed.
It's not his fault he can catch. The ref over there can't even kick the ball that JJ Redick threw. He's just ejected out. My feelings are hurt.
Yeah. It's just a weird time. It just, and both things can exist, right? We can say and look at Luka and other guys say, you got to stop whining to the officials all the time, right? But we can also look at the officials and say, look, you guys can't be having such a short fuse. And Devin Booker, he just tossed it back to the ref and got tossed. And he's someone who hasn't gotten a lot of national spotlight, and he was on national television playing the Lakers at Staples Center. Like, people want to watch that. They don't want to watch him get tossed. Same with Donovan Mitchell. They're playing the number 1 seed in the East, and they're having this great year, and in overtime, nobody wants to see him get tossed. Now, Donovan Mitchell, after the game, made comments, and he said, in my mind, we won this game. No, you didn't. You were like 12 of 35 from the field. You like shoot better, and maybe you can make that argument. So I kind of resent that. But when you just look at it as a whole, it's just really, really unfortunate to see all these things happening. Like, people come to watch the games because they want to watch the best players play, and if they're getting ejected, what's there to watch? I don't know, and that's kind of something that's been on both of our minds lately. But just touching on college basketball, I've talked about Duke too much. They got to beat North Carolina on Saturday just to have a chance at the tournament. So
payback.
Yeah, we need it. And then they got to win a couple games ACC tournament. But anyway, I don't even care, because I've just wore myself out talking about them all the time. But we've went to a couple Ball State games, and a lot of people don't know about Ball State basketball and what they've been doing. They started out the MAC season pretty well. We're in the top of the standings, and then had a little losing streak. But really, it feels like since we've been back, Alexa, and started going to games, they've really picked it up. They've had wins over Kent State, who's the number 2 seed, Toledo, who's the number 1 seed in the MAC, and they beat Eastern Michigan the other night, beat Central Michigan, and they've had a couple really nice wins at home here, and they're going to finish their season Saturday, or I think it's Friday maybe, at Toledo.
It was tomorrow.
I think it's Friday, but guess today's Thursday, right? Or am I tripping?
Today's Thursday.
Okay,
I thought it was Tuesday.
Today's Thursday. But so let's talk about what we've seen from them. I'll just throw this out before you go at it. But I've been so impressed with how well they've shot the ball. Boogie Coleman, who's a sophomore, shot it really well lately. Ish El-Amin had 34 on Saturday versus Central Michigan. He shot it really well. Luke Bumbalough had a game. I think it was against Kent State, or maybe it was earlier than that. But that can carry you so far, and especially this time of year in March, when you get to that conference tournament. If you can shoot a lot of teams out, and win the game. KJ Walton had a pretty good game on senior night the other night. So just talk about what you've seen and what you hope to see going forward, because we're hoping they win their conference tournament. So Ball State says, hey, we got some NCAA tournament tickets for students if you want some.
No, like you said, they've been shooting good, and every night one player steps up way much. It starts with Boogie. Other night, Ish got 34. Then last game we went, KJ got like 30 points.
Mm-hmm.
And their defense has been phenomenal. Not too many mistakes. And especially because watching them, there's one guy.
You don't know his name.
I cannot pronounce it.
Bracken Hazen.
And, even though he's memes and Ryan Hollins out there, he also is playing good defense.
Hollins, yeah.
They're playing good defense, and he's a big part of that. He doesn't give up too much offensive rebounds. He shuts them down. And everybody's stepping up.
Yeah.
And call me crazy, but I think they can win this easily.
Mm-hmm.
Not easily, but they're in a roller coaster move, and you have those. It always happens. You have, and this is what I'd never get, but you have always higher seed, and they play lower teams, and they don't look themselves at all.
I also think, especially in these kind of smaller conferences, you'll see a lot more upsets. You won't see, unless you got the really good teams that have been good all year, but Ball State's shown they can beat Toledo, they can beat Kent State, they beat BG early this year. Those are the top couple teams in the league. And so I absolutely agree with you. They got a chance here. And, I think also another thing to point out is, if you're a good shooting team, which they have been, that means you pass the ball well. You find the open guy. And that's also something that they've done really well. They've been a great passing team. Eastern Michigan ran a zone on Tuesday, just tore it up. And that's how you beat you beat zones. You just pass it. You pass it to the right spots. You attack in the right spots. Dribble, kick, all that stuff. And that they did a great job lately. They've done a great job. So let's hope they can stay hot shooting and get a win at Toledo on Saturday and go into the tournament right. So it's rant time. Alexa, you're up first. Go ahead. You got about a minute and a half, and we'll wrap this thing up.
You're just gonna start with completely VAR in soccer. I was the one calling for it, but listen, VAR lately around the leagues has been ridiculous. Ruling the goals offside just because a small part of your elbow was in front of the defender's foot, or your finger was in front.
Serbian soccer, ladies and gentlemen, is wilding out right now.
And that's where we're going. They really need VAR there. And listen, I'm gonna try to be nice, but I can't. This team, and this is why I keep saying this, when they go Red Star, when they go out and play teams in Europe, like AC Milan, they passed Europa League. They lost in top 16. They lost because it was 3-3. It was 2-2 and then 1-1. And since they gave up one more goal, they lost. But they play phenomenal. But when they played the regular league, they're bad. And I showed you the penalty video, right? Like, they're better actors than...
They should be nominated for an
Oscar. They're better than Rock, Kevin Hart. They're over there acting. Like, it's like a movie scenes, and that's how they're winning. I mean, like, you saw the video. They're a bunch of actors over there.
Oh my God.
And my frustration, add VAR or have foreign referees because bias will be out of it.
Kevin, so are you saying they're like Kevin Hart and The Rock because they're funny, or that they're acting? Because Kevin, they're pretty funny. Okay, I got
They're
you.
better than them. Like, look at the videos. They're over there.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
They sunk like him on Titanic in the water. They just fall down. They get touched like Rose pushes him and they just boom.
Oh, I don't know how he could top that, ladies and gentlemen. That was pretty good. I guess, I mean, mine's pretty weak compared to that. But here's the thing. So Inside the NBA is the pregame show on TNT for NBA basketball. And they're pretty funny, right? You got Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, Ernie Johnson, and Shaq. And Shaq decides when he wakes up that, you know what? Every day when he wakes up, he just decides, you know what? I'm going to poop on some current players just because I feel like it. And so Candace Parker, who's actually a very knowledgeable basketball mind, legendary WNBA basketball player, was on Inside the NBA. And they were talking about how teams switch everything when it comes to ball screens, down screens, all that stuff. Teams in the NBA just switch. And Shaq goes, well, you know, why do you switch? Why don't you just man up and try to get through screens? And, you know, basically calling these players soft for not, you know, manning up and taking their guy, right? And Candace explained it in a logical X's and O's way. And she said, look, all these guys can shoot. You can throw skip passes because, you know, if you try and rotate everything, it leaves skip passes open, and all the guys can pass now, right? And, you know, I'm just sitting here wondering when Shaq is going to give some current players respect, because he crapped on Dwight Howard when he won a title. He hates Rudy Gobert, which, like, I mean, I don't like Rudy Gobert that much either, but like, give him a break, right? And I was going to say Donovan Mitchell. He said, I don't think you're a good superstar. What do you think about that? And he said, okay. And that was a great response from Donovan Mitchell. Shaq is riding. He's on a slippery slope. And he needs to chill out, because one of these times he might just blow up on national television and he's going to get fired. You know, he's just going to go off on a player or something. Because he's kind of throwing these leaks and quotes out to the media, when the minute he does it on camera in a really bad way, there's going to be some people not so happy. I mean, so that I just want, if by some chance you're listening to this right now, some outside chance, Shaquille O'Neal, please stop. Get some help. Please. That's all I ask. All right, so that was rant time. Alexa, as we go off, let me ask you, because we're at midterms now. How's your semester been going? Is there anything you're looking forward to come second semester? Anything like that?
Semester has been going pretty good than I expected it to be. What I'm looking forward, you want honest answer?
Yeah.
Ending.
Whoa! Don't let the Ball State offices hear that.
Ending off each week. is what
Oh,
I
okay,
meant.
I got you. We're good now, guys. You can log off, Ball State offices.
Yes.
You can log off now.
No, what I'm looking forward to, honestly, I don't know, just keep getting my classes done.
Mhm.
Like, staying on the same schedule and just completing stuff.
Yeah, you and I have kind of had the same, or last semester we didn't have much in person, but this semester we have a lot in person. It's been really nice to kind of get a normal college experience. Here's the question I want to leave you with. You have one meal swipe left on campus,
One meal swipe.
and you have to choose one place to go. Where are you going on campus? And because people obviously haven't been here, you need to describe like why, what it is.
Am I starving?
You're starving. Yes, you haven't ate all day. You've been out all day doing homework, and you forgot to eat. You were studying so much. So it's like 8 o'clock, and you have one meal swipe left. Where are you going? And also, I think it's also important to point out it's a weekday, not weekend. So
Oh, of course.
so
Okay. So all five are
Papa
open.
John's is still open, by the way. I'm not saying that's what you're gonna pick, but go ahead. You're gonna hate me for this, is what you're gonna say.
Yes. We're rolling with Neuer.
Oh,
Listen,
terrible!
listen. I'm starving. Listen, am I starving? Absolutely, I'm starving.
Oh, no!
I can get pasta that's
is
improved,
terrible.
hamburger, chocolate milk, desserts, all that for $9.
Oh, I think I just threw up in my mouth.
But if I wasn't starving, if I was just like last meal swipe of the year, probably would be Papa John's.
There you go. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, Neuer's an all-you-can-eat. But
Buffet, kind of.
it's all-you-can-eat, but
It improved.
No, whoa. Let me talk now. It's not very good. If I get one last meal swipe, I think I'm going Woodworth. Dude, every Wednesday, I get the veggie salad. That's $4.50. I get fettuccine Alfredo half, and that's $2.50. And I get something to drink, and it's just a little over $9. Dude, that's just a good meal. That's just a good meal, dude. I'm going there every Wednesday now because they only sell the Alfredo on Wednesday. But any shout outs you want to give? I know it was kind of nice to not talk about sports there. That was fun. But
Any shout outs? You go first.
I was not expecting to go
I don't
first.
know who to shout out.
My shout out, first of all, shout out to the girls basketball team back home. They made it to the district final. It was fun to get to watch them. They had a good season. I got to go to that game, which was really fun since I was home. But I guess my shout out would have to go to Coach Jacob Sturt. My friend Clarky talked to Coach Sturt about the podcast apparently at school today, and he said he wanted one out. So, Coach Sturt, I really can't believe you're listening, but if you are, I appreciate that, and I hope your school years went great and you have a good finish to it. So, thanks, Coach Sturt. Wait. As my dad would say, Coach Sturts. Okay, go ahead.
My shouting out my boy William at Michigan Tech University. The message, just keep it cool, all right? We'll be there a summer and we'll be working and building a wheelchair trampoline.
Don't know what that means, but nice inside joke for you and William, I guess. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for sticking along through that rough ending we had. But until next time, for me, for Alexa, thanks for listening to the Ball Boys Podcast.